back. I am Joe.
And I'm Kokoy.
Together we are
TITOS with Space Age Ukuleles.
Okay, so this is a ukulele.
Yes, it is. I believe so. But look, it's kind of different if you look at it.
Yeah, it's not wood.
Yes, and it's blue. Well, we like blue.
So, what brand is this, Koy?
Okay, this is the Lava U ukulele. Lava because it's Lava U because ukulele. If you have the Lava guitars, it says Lava. So this is the Lava U ukulele in tenor size, which I believe is maybe one of the sizes, the only size they probably made this for. What you have is not wood, not wood material. It's definitely something like those Ovation synthetic materials. They call it Airsonic.
Airsonic. Okay.
Why is it Airsonic? Because part of the design for this one is that instead of bracing, they have sort of like a waffle type bracing on the inside, which should sound familiar to some.
Yeah.
Some,
Okay, it's a little bigger, but it's similar to the true reduction used by Canelea.
which hopefully someday we will be able to buy for review thanks to your subs and likes.
Yeah. Now, obviously, for this one, given the material, it's a modern day Bakelite material.
Yes, for those people who live in that generation like us, Titos, Bakelite was the plastic of the day for even the older generation. You know, they've been making synthetic instruments since more than 50 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. Some they would have made. If you look at the old catalogs, there were toy ukuleles made out of Bakelite and other plastic material back in the day, which are now collectible, even though they're cracked.
Okay.
This one is supposedly won't crack over the years.
So, for this one, obviously, there was no concern about book matching.
Really?
Yeah, no concern about tone wood.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, it kind of sounds like wood, but it isn't. Not even the fretboard.
Yeah, not even the fretboard is wood. In fact, the fret marks aren't even metal.
Fret markers, yes. The fret markers are actually they look like aluminum, I think,
Are they?
or kind. They're not stickers. They could be well-made aluminum. Fret markers, not the frets.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is actually a very robust and well-made, kind of solid. If you think about it, very resonant, very chubby, very smooth and round. So there's so many synthetics in the market, but for us, this is the best-looking design, and also best priced at almost $400 to $500, depending on where you buy it from.
I think this is the first ukulele that we're reviewing that has an off-center sound hole.
Yes, it is the first that you will have an off-centered sound hole. And why is there an off-centered sound hole? Is because this has a built-in pickup with piezo. However, it does have an additional mic pickup because this particular instrument from Lava U comes with its built-in speakers. Unlike the standard magnetic speakers, this is a resonant speaker or induction speaker where the whole body becomes your resonating cone. So it has a built-in chorus, delay, and reverb, and a mic mix. That's why there is such a level here. That's why you can reach it in. Because that's also where you charge it by a USB-C. Yeah. Very, very nice to have it in USB-C.
Now, okay, so it's not seen here, but there are buttons inside with labels. But if you're not familiar with it, obviously it's awkward to look at the labels while playing. So there's actually a sticker here. It's faded a little.
Which brings us to the first negative thing about this thing. The faded sticker, I noticed when I was fiddling around with it, is somehow maybe depending on the region or model that you bought it from. This particular sticker had the reverse on the chorus and the... I mean, it's not even thinking that if you're looking at it from the underside that it should be reversed. No, when it says switch to chorus, it's actually switching you to delay. So that's one of the things. I mean, I'd like to remove this sticker someday, but right now I'm keeping it there. It does have a mic blend, so there is a lever. There is a slide switch here for the mic where you can where you can blend in the built-in mic. But watch out for the feedback again because there is a speaker inside.
Okay, now, given that this is a pickup, there has to be a way for you to attach a cable to it. Now, and it's there.
So you have your your output jack over here, but what you notice that it is just an output jack, and there is no way of putting a strap on this, right?
Okay,
Okay, Lava decided to make the space age all complete by providing one single strap lock where you're supposed to buy their own branded single clip system. It's like a buckle that you clip on, which I believe is also now hard to find.
yeah, okay, look, we're photographers. We accept the fact. Like, for example, if I buy a Nikon camera, I gotta buy the corresponding battery from Nikon. If I buy an Epson printer, I have to buy the inks, supposedly from Epson.
Yes.
What I cannot take as a musician is, must I buy a special strap to go with a uke?
Yes, that is actually some concern because if you really wanted to play this with the strap, that would have been an issue. Except we are photographers, so we are quite used to working on the field with all the adjustments that they have to do. So there are two ways to put a strap on this thing. One is that if you do put your output jack, that can be where your strap. Just put the output jack and slot the, you know what I mean? You put the output jack through the strap hole, right? And you can use this one as the other strap. That's one. Just be cautious because, again, this was designed for a locking mechanism, so it is quite shallow. You must have a very thin leather end and put a plastic lock.
Okay.
Which brings to the second way of putting a strap in this. So if you can't afford the technically $100 strap or something like that, what you can do is you can just jack rig a strap like this so that you will just end up with one of the loop into that strap lock while the other is being held on, whatever means if you want to tie it. So then you balance its way out. Just make sure again you put that rubber stopper, to make sure that it locks in.
Okay, now this is the kind of uke that you must fall in love with it as a whole. Meaning, among other things, you must fall in love with the tuners used.
Tuners used. Actually, I'm in love with the tuners used. It's kind of space age. I know you don't like closed tuners, right? So this is not only closed, it's screwless. Yeah, it's screwless tuners. They have this way of locking it in. Again, if you have to repair this thing, then you must have special tools because it's not just the regular hex or anything.
Yeah, so much for those who believe in right to repair.
Yeah, and there's now a Lava repair center near you because they're a brand from China. And they are very nice actually. However, it's quite depending on your region, it's not easy to find.
Okay, now on the plus side, like I have a uke with a pickup, but if I want to use effects with it, I have to plug in, of course, a cable which would go through my pedal straight to the amp, or if my amp has the effects, I have to plug in from here to the amp and do the effects on the amp. For this one, you can play it unplugged and still get the effects.
Yes, so before we hit the sound sample, let me just remind you that this is a practically carbon fiber type body with a waffle surface as a bracing system. So this definitely should sound quite unique, right? Now it also have the built-in effects. So when you're listening to the sound sample, please keep that in mind that this will resonate differently. We'll try to project it and show it, but for the purposes of this test, we will just practically do the acoustic versions because what we want you to hear is how it sounds like without being plugged in, which is normal. If you plug in any ukulele to an amplifier, it really depends on your amplifier. But also because we want you to hear the effects coming from its induction type speaker, which means that it's the body that's resonating. So this is another different and unique instrument that you will hear for maybe the first time. So we'll move up to that sound sample without any further ado. Let's space into it. And we've warped back in from space.
Okay, now here's something interesting. You bought the second hand, right?
Yes, did manage to buy the second hand. Fair warning, some people might not really be attuned to the synthetic look and body of this. So yes, you might actually find a lot of people trying to sell this.
So this one has been upgraded with a low G string.
Which is quite a sounding upgrade, I believe, because it is tenor, it needs a deeper voice, and it is very deep. But originally, the strings would have been this crystal brand from Lava, so they make their own strings. So it's not Aquila. so I think so, unless they have them rebranded.
Yeah, for me, another nice touch for those who want a simpler way to replace their strings. It's got a no-tie bridge.
Yes, this is a no-tie bridge, and the bridge material is the same thing. Yeah, this bridge material is also synthetic, so I would assume that the nut, although the nut seems to be that kind of synthetic that you probably see like New Bone or Graphtec, so it might it doesn't look like it's ivory or or bone. So the thing is that it's like when you hear the sound, for me it's kind of a O sound, you know. So it envelopes in that waffle, probably that waffle bridging inside.
Yeah. Now, Lava, of course, going for the space look. So you got rounded corners here, rounded corners also here.
Yes, everything is kind of rounded, even that.
Okay, look, they went all the way. You gotta check out the case.
Yes, one of the things that this comes with when you buy it at that expensive price of $400 is also an equally spacey case.
Yeah. Now, I only have one thing against this case. It's especially scratch prone.
Actually, for me, it's kind of too nice to bring out because, when you break this thing, you can't replace it. So what's nice about this case is that it lets you highlight, just like that movie Aliens, chest busting on the inside of that machine that keeps you alive. So when you open the case actually, the whole packaging of Lava is actually pretty nice. The box was so big I had to throw it out. You have a nice space age case,
Actually,
hard case.
It's more like a clamshell case at this
Yeah.
point.
You have I would say it's a dry bag, but actually it's here to protect the case from scratching.
Yeah.
So it's used over the case. It has a nice spacing. Again, they're with that rounding thing, even the grip here. It does come with your USB-C cable. Okay. Unlike some original ukuleles that are, let's say, what they call the e-ukuleles, that come with an app that you can manipulate sound, etc., using an app or play with certain accompaniment. The Lava system does not have anything. It does not sync by Bluetooth or anything, so it's kind of future-proof, just like this case. So again, with the sound, Joe, didn't you notice that when you're playing it without the built-in, is already pretty nice. Although it does gives you that ovation sound. Like I say, it's an O sound, right? When you play the synthetic material, always gives you that O sound, like oh, like maybe it does kind of rend the strings into a crystal-like sound, don't you think? But we did add the effects during the test. How did you find that one?
If you just wanted an all-in-one and you didn't want to fool around with pedals, yeah, this would be it.
Well, also because the speaker does, well, such a shame you cannot actually sync it via Bluetooth because there are some instruments that you actually can play the accompaniment through the speaker. But Lava decided not to do that, even if Lava has its own app for some of the other instruments they make, but this one doesn't. You might actually find other synthetics from brands like Enya, but for me, this is more premium, which is also the pricing. The Space Age Blue is not, they also have those, like something like an obsidian black or something, and other fancy colors like white, etc. But the blue, well, yeah, I like the blue.
Yeah. So, guys, we enjoy what we do, and we really need your subs. Please subscribe to us. We need your likes. Helps to keep us going.
Yes, and keeps us venturing into the outer universe of the ukuleles. So see you again with more ukulele features.